we are live.
Okay. So hello everyone. Good afternoon everyone and good morning and good evening all from all over the world. My name is Amit Das, listings manager with LATOKEN.com. Today we are hosting another show of LATOKEN VC TV where we'll be discussing about investments in educational technology. So educational technology, as we see, is one of the prime important investments in the venture capital area. So VC investments in edtech startups have almost tripled during January to July 2020, from $998 million to $310 million a year ago. EdTech was the most funded sector in 2020. Most of the investors says that most of the edtech companies are seeing a 3 to 5 time rise in free audience and anywhere 50 to 100% growth in monthly revenue due to COVID. So yeah, today we'll be discussing a lot about investments in educational technology and what are the advantages and disadvantages and what is the investor's point of view in this sector. So with me connecting are two investors, Saurabh from India and Eddie Chow from Hong Kong. So let's welcome them and let's hear from them. Saurabh, something a little background about you and the work you have done so far. Thank you.
Thanks, Amit. My name is Dr. Saurabh Bhatia, and I run a firm for investment banking based out of Pune in India. I help startups raise funds, and EduTech is, of course, one of the hot sectors right now, as Amit has rightly pointed out. So, thanks. That's about me.
Thanks, Saurabh.
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah. Okay, no problem. Yeah. I'm Eddie. Yeah, I'm a serial entrepreneur and focus on artificial intelligence and blockchain more, and especially in education, more because I have been a teachers, consultants, and education areas for almost 10 years, and we're partnered with different education partners, even in universities or training centers to provide more EdTech solutions, and also we also invest for a different education platform as well.
Thank you, Eddie. So yes, guys, before we move on to proceed with the show, I just want to give a short overview of LATOKEN VCTV. So basically, LATOKEN VCTV is a platform where investors and startups meet. This is the sole purpose of VCTV, so that the investors come and pitch their beautiful idea, working idea, and their vision to these investors, so that the investors can rectify what are the problems that you will face in the future, so that these startups can get a laundry list of all the objections that are required to achieve your vision. So if you are a startup, then please come on to LATOKEN VCTV so that you can get funded easily and you can have a clear vision of your idea. So yes, that's about LATOKEN VCTV. So let's jump directly into the topic of today's topic, that is investments in EduTech. So the opening remarks would be, why EduTech and why right now, and will EduTech survive in the coming times? So let's start from Saurabh. Saurabh, what are your thoughts on this with respect to India and all over the world?
So, thanks, Amit. The first and most important thing here is that COVID has actually given a shot in the arm to EduTech. So before COVID, the EduTech was primarily run by those companies which were providing either some kind of exam preparation and test preparation for the students. And for adults who are already working, it was a matter of upskilling or reskilling themselves. By and large, that's what the EduTech was limited to. But with this whole COVID thing, it got a shot in the arm in the sense that the schools closed down. And I mean, almost 91% schools in the world closed down. And I have some data which says that almost 919 million children were affected because of this. So this is a huge number. And now these children, they need to learn and be in contact with the school and the teachers through educational technology. And of course, as the technology was moving ahead in all aspects of life, there was improvements in the classrooms already happening, like all the automated systems and blackboards had been replaced by touch screens and all those things were happening. But now it's all connected EduTech, which is making the difference that the different people sitting at different places are going to teach and learn. And there's a second aspect to this, which is about accessibility through phones. So earlier, EduTech and learning management systems, they had all these complicated technologies, forms and Flash, which has been now outdated and all. So you usually used to need a laptop or a desktop computer to access the learning content. But now the content is being generated and is optimized for mobile phones. And mobile phones being cheaper than, especially the smartphone, being cheaper than the desktop and or a laptop and more portable, it is having a higher access rate. So because of this, now a lot more students are able to access the education which is backed by the technology. So I think in future, the number of lessons which are being taught live may go down. There will be a lot more peri-educational activity which will continue. And therefore, I say education sector is going to be on the rise for at least next 5 years in this sense. Thank you.
Thanks, Saurav, for that wonderful insight. Eddie, what are your thoughts on educational sector and how is it moving forward? How is it going to create an impact on the children's lives?
Okay, yeah. Because actually I have been teaching in 10 years later before. So because I'm teaching university before, so yeah. So my graduates or my former students actually they are also conduct entrepreneurs and also they working in the industry. So and also some of them are doing STEM or teaching in secondary school. So my background is actually focused on large adults and also for the K-12 or even the secondary schools. So for my experience, I think education, tech or education is very important because I think the education to train people, because train people to become talent or train more ideas to initiate on many things is very important to the coming economy and also the cultures. So for me, because I have used artificial intelligence such as AI matchings to identify the students' behavior. Because I recommend different students and can learn different things, learn according to their skills and to earn money or being entrepreneur or even different areas. So I think education tech is very important. And also nowadays my student because I focus on the gaming and also technologies, even blockchain or AI before. So I think the gaming is also very important. Yeah, because most students learned in looking for videos. So but around different countries or even in Hong Kong, some people are working. Are not only studying the books. In internet or articles, and there some are prefer reading the videos. Yeah, to learn something. So I have co-founded another company that conduct some video courses for different people to learn, even in STEM or in technologies or even in other languages. Yeah. So This is what I think. And also, for my students before and my graduates, they can learn. They have involved the STEM educations and to teach the very small children to learn coding or to provide some science. And encourage more people. This is what I done before.
Great, Eddie. So, thanks for the insights. So, Saurabh and Eddie, I just want to ask you one single question that since EduTech is all about online learning, so what kind of impact will it create, or what kind moving forward? What can be the way in the future so that the children, those who are learning remote and in an online manner, don't miss out on the physical aspects of life, like playing, gaming, or learning that authentic feel of the classroom. What kind of thoughts do you hold to cover these gaps of the authentic learning? Like from age old, from the past, we used to learn from the classroom. You, I, and everyone of our age, or up to this time, everyone has learned with the classical way of teaching, that is classroom teaching. A teacher comes in and bunch of students sit and learn this thing. But with educational technology, the whole thing is disrupted, and people just try to learn it over videos, and they can learn it. The best thing is they can learn it with their comfort at their home, but they are missing out on the classical way of teaching. So what kind of advantages and disadvantages does will this hold in this in the upcoming future? Saurabh, over to you. Can you answer this question?
First of all, I think the content is very important because I think AI can help the customized content, because I know every people, they can learn themselves through self-learning. Because traditional students can, they will not have they have not customized content, because the teachers they teach the traditional way, and they just broadcast their own content, but some of the students, because some are clever and some are not clever, so it is difficult for them to learn themselves. So I think the online is very important, because especially the students can learn different skills, different levels, or different courses from online courses, instead of just very standalone or very standard courses to teach them. So I use AI to conduct some different content, actually to identify, to understand the student ability first, and to identify their abilities, and then to find suitable different courses and conduct them. And also because nowadays, actually, especially in Hong Kong or even Singapore, the students are much clever, actually, and they want to learn themselves. Some clever men, they can learn by themselves. So we may provide different strategies, and also some analysis to help them to watch different videos or courses, based on their abilities. So for me, online is more important, and I think those online tech can improve their ability, especially their different skills. Because I know, for subjects, they are very different. Some are focused on business, some are engineering, or some are psychology, some are biotech or whatever. And in order and if you can customize different levels and identify their strength, the student's strength, and that will much better and help them to learn more. But also there has weaknesses, actually, because for the current man, they will be more talent, and they are not difficult. They are difficult to communicate with the student. Because with student will belong to one group and clever student will belong another group. So they were difficult to cooperate or even to partners to conduct some things, some later technologies. So I think it is a weakness. So so as a recommendation, I think both are balanced because different people have their different ideas or talents, so they can earn their things and then to cooperate to do more projects or even conduct some entrepreneur to change the world and also to change the habits. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
All right, Eddie. Saurabh, what do you think about this?
So, Amit, how will you react if I tell you that in 10 years' time, probably the system of examination will vanish completely? So, so why I'm saying this is because till now, what has been happening is when we talk of EduTech, all we think about is that the same set of education is just being imparted in an online fashion using a video or a live conferencing system. But that is only till we are trying to replace the classical classroom education doing that. Now, as you would be aware that India has been making a lot of changes in the way education is imparted and the children are assessed. So now a child currently in conventional classroom and school system, a child is not graded only on the basis of his final examination, but there's a lot of internal assessment, so to say, which carries almost 60, 70, 80% weightage in different subjects. And these have been done by teachers with only some guidelines from the boards. So what happens is there's a lot of subjectivity in internal assessment of children. But with technology, what is going to happen is that the submission and of the assignments, replying to the questions in the class, replying to quick questions online when the teacher wants, or helping other students to solve their problems, this is going to become a regular thing, and this data will be collected in the systems. So instead of having the teacher merely doing an internal assessment and deciding how much a child is good or bad in a particular subject, and adding those marks to the final examination marks, what is going to happen is there is going to be data mining, and this data will be an objective assessment of where the child stands vis-a-vis his or her understanding of a subject, his or her ability to either convert it into a professional subject for himself, or helping others, or even teaching it. So what I feel is that eventually in 5 to 10 years time, the EdTech will become two-way, which is mostly one-way right now. We know our children are giving examination online and multiple choice questions, or writing an exam on paper and scanning it and uploading it. All this will go away when the supplementary or complementary mobile apps or the other applications will appear, and the interaction which will be done will be through those mobile apps, as an example, which will see that how is the child actually understanding and reacting to a subject. So this is going to be a paradigm shift where the child's assessment will not be in the hands of just a bunch of 4 or 5 other human beings who are the class teachers, but it will be assessed much more objectively and in comparison to the other children who are with that same child. As a matter of fact, it will be the teachers who will be at the receiving end of this, because if they have taught a particular subject and a topic, and almost all the children are performing poorly, and the data is saying that none of them have understood it, it will be the teacher who will be pulled up, because 1 or 2 students may be wrong, but if the whole class has not understood it, it's the teacher who needs to improve on it. Now, coming to the second part of it, which you mentioned, that is this going to affect the bonding, the class interactions? Yes, that is a major hassle, major problem that I foresee. Already with social media, children are quite less interacting in person and interacting a lot with apps in which they are just behind the scenes. So their social grace, their social ability has already reduced. And if they are going to be professionals and entrepreneurs in future, being socially viable is an important part of it. Today, if, for example, you make a mistake and I feel like laughing at you, if I'm online, I'll just switch off my camera and laugh at you. I will make no effort to hide my emotions and not laugh or even be sympathetic to you. But if you are in front of me and something happens, then I'll at least make an effort to behave decently and not express the laughter which I'm feeling right now. So these kind of discipline and social interactions will definitely deteriorate, and they are going to affect the future of businesses as well as professions. Thank you.
Yep, Saurabh. Yeah, thanks for whatever you have said. Moving back to the investment side, what kind of investments are you looking for? Like so far, almost all kind of online platforms have been created where teachers come in and students come in and pick their subject. All kind of disruptions has been happened in edutech. So, what kind of investments are you looking for in the coming future, if in case you are trying to invest in this edutech sector?
So for edutech sector, as I just mentioned, what I said earlier, it is important. It is now, I am actually getting about 4 to 5 companies every week which are into edutech. And some of them are making content while some of them are making the platform for a content. The thing is, this whole market has suddenly become very, very crowded and highly competitive. So eventually, what is going to happen is a lot of them are going to fall by the wayside or are going to be acquired. There's going to be consolidation in the market, but that is going to take time. This problem is happening because everybody is trying to follow the same beaten path, that try to create a app or a platform on desktop or the laptops where one can go to the browser and access some content, or one can go to some kind of a live interaction like Zoom, where a teacher comes on one end and the students on the other, and there is some kind of educational interaction. What is not happening is the content being rationalized into chunks of accessible educational points. Just like in a lot of things in Western world, for example, you see that there is a course which gives 15 grade points. Now, how are those 15 grade points determined and assessed? That is not really happening right now. So content is being generated without any standardization and without any feedback. So what I would look for in a company is to disrupt this common edtech market. If anybody comes to me right now and say, hey, I just have a platform, you can install it in your school or college or company, and somebody can teach and somebody can learn, that's not going to suffice anymore. It's already overcrowded, and one has to think out of the box to make this whole educational thing a little more interactive, a little more standardized, and a little more accessible. So accountability has to come in. It will not be possible to just give a Zoom platform and hope that everybody is studying as per the curriculum. Thank you.
Thanks, Saurabh. Eddie, what kind of investments are you looking for in the future?
Actually, I'm looking for not just one part. Actually, if, about 3 parts. Actually, the first part, I think the chatting online, just a Zoom or just online videos, broadcasting or podcasting services, very important because to build a worldwide educators or worldwide educator content, the broadcasting information or podcast or even the chatting is very important, because I see some of the people, they will seldom ask things or even ask questions to the teachers, or even so I think the group chat or even group communication is very important, and allow the people to ask more questions. So the first one. The second one, I prefer in VR and XR actually. Yeah. Why? Because I can see, for example, in the secondary school, some subject is very boring, such as history or Chinese cultures or yeah, some traditional things, very boring. So prefer some VR projection, because VR can improve the stimulation and allow the people not just studying the content, the article themselves, but can provide more interactions and also to more stimulation, the scene stimulation, and allow the people to looking in. Yeah, so for and also the VR can provide different stimulation story, to different stories, so that the people can earn themselves. And the last one, because the last one is very complicated, is the neuroscience actually. Why? Because I think neuroscience is important, because neuroscience can make people understand the people thinking and identify the people behavior and their knowledge, what their skill set or even. So the last one is the neuroscience. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep. So my next question would be to Saurabh regarding the policy that has been recently implemented in India, that is the National Education Policy. So how will the schools and the startups, the edtech startups, will take advantage of this? So what can be the path forward for the next coming years?
So, would you like to specify which part of the policy are you talking about?
I would like to specify about the policy of which is more of dynamic in nature. Like a student can get in at any time, and if he wants to change his background from like science to some other history or arts, then he can generally change it and not wait for the class 10 and class 12 kind of semester kind of based off examination, but he can change in the middle of whenever he wants. He can choose his path. So how do the schools, how does this traditional schools as well as startups are going to manage this kind of scenario? Because NEP will standardize, and the whole industry and education sector will revolve around it. This is what I feel. So yeah, Saurabh.
So, I have worked for the welfare and education sector in the Nordic countries, also Norway, Finland, etc. And my experience there was that the students were allowed to do this, like I'm talking of 20 years ago. So the students were allowed to say, this year I want to study maybe arithmetic and chemistry, and they could just focus on that. Each subject will have certain credit points, or so that they need to just have total number of points to go ahead. So it was less temporal in nature and less forceful that, okay, unless you pass geography, you will not be considered as a high school student. It was not like that. So you had to collect the total number of credit points by studying various subjects. And I'm aware of the students who used to feel a burnout in the first year or second year of something difficult. And they used to just say, okay, for one semester, I'm just going to take pottery. So there's less of academic work, more of physically learning pottery. And after 6 months, they will again switch back to some subjects. So this model has actually been experimented upon, and it has turned out to be equally good. In fact, in some areas, it has exceeded the general education system, which has been in vogue in India for the last 50, 60 years, because the general system kind of assumes that every student should have the basic knowledge of every subject that has been decided as a formal subject, be history or geography or science or commerce. But it has been seen that people have their aptitude, the aptitude comes out very early now, and the students are able to figure out what they like and don't like, and the area that they do not like simply keeps dragging down their percentage, their performance, and even their self-esteem in the early years of education. So I think that this is going to actually do a lot of good. Now, how will startups help, and how will the schools help? This will change a lot currently what happens by and large in India is that the students who are getting higher marks are able to choose whichever stream they want. And by and large, science is taken up. And then the students who are scoring lesser than the earlier ones are being reduced to either choosing commerce or arts or subject like those. This pattern will probably go away. So the students will now be able to freely move between subjects which they feel are important and important for their growth and subsequent professional development. So to guide them into that, that data which I was earlier talking about, where students were using the mobile app probably to respond to teachers, to respond to questions in general in day-to-day class routines, that data when mined, instead of doing psychometric tests, that data will be the one which will be able to tell the students that your performance is much, much better in this area, your understanding is much, much deeper in that area, and matching it with their inclination and interest, they will be able to choose better subjects. So things like forceful study of subjects and a common path for everybody will go away, and data-based decisions for students for their understanding will come in. This is what I see in coming in next 5 to 10 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Saurabh. Eddie, what kind of system does Hong Kong hold currently in education? What is the traditional way of teaching, and what kind of credit-based system does Hong Kong hold, and what kind of changes are they looking for in this education area?
For traditional fund, because actually, in tertiary education is more very traditional. Or even in secondary school, some the students are just study in the class, in the classroom, and the teachers will broadcast to conduct it. According to traditional before the coronavirus, but in this 2 years, the coronavirus issues. Most students, especially primary school, university school, they will try to learn online, and because they learn from home, and they will need to establish the PC channels, and also conduct in the channels to learn something. And for traditional, we will have also some books or even online videos. But nowadays more videos is established in secondary school and also the primary school, because nowadays the youngsters love to see video instead of articles. So most teachers or even schools encourage the videos to allow the people to teach, to learn and to teach. But for tertiary educations, because most students learn in class, and we have already the system such as Moodles or black blocks, and to do investigations and to conduct to put some lecture notes or even the materials, and also to provide some assessment and a test or exam to let the student to do. So all these ways are done by online, and I know these few months, most students and the tertiary education also conduct some video, but a little videos to establish and to provide some content to the students, and to students to learn different subjects, or even learn areas. And also we have more interactive tools actually, because the teacher can use more education tools such as mind map or the time management or project management to teach it, and to conduct different semester. That is what a Hong Kong system nowadays.
Thanks, Eddie. Seems like Hong Kong has already picked up the education EduTech sector, and the whole world is looking at us, looking at this sector, like what kind of new system is going to emerge as a global system, and how the students are going to turn out by adopting this kind of system. So yes, it was an interesting discussion today. So before we close this today's topic, is any points you want to mention as a closing remarks, Saurabh?
Yeah. So another thing that I think has existed in the technology for a bunch of years, but has not been explored till now, will now become active with all these new policies, and that is algorithmic learning. So what used to happen was that if a student is in grade 6, then he can learn only whatever is in the curriculum of grade 6, and he cannot, if he is very good at one particular subject, he cannot run faster than the other students because of the restrictions of the class. But with algorithmic learning, student, when he or she is doing very well in a subject, he can keep going on deeper and keep collecting more and more credit points. So it is quite possible that you will find a student maybe 10 years later who is in grade 6, but he or she has already cleared arithmetic up to the level of grade 8, but he or she is probably struggling with the English language to a level of grade 5. So these kind of differences will also start appearing once we have algorithmic learning on the content in the learning management systems. Thank you.
Yes, Eddie. Yes.
I think nowadays in Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is very complicated. Actually, there's very different people, English people, foreigners, and even China people, Chinese, and also local people. Most of them, the languages are actually different. But in university, our mother language is still in English. But some Cantonese, Chinese are still learning in Putonghua, but some subjects it's difficult to learn by Putonghua, and also I think the language should be abolished, and also nowadays the Hong Kong people English is poorer than 10 years or 20 years ago, actually, because they most likely to learn Chinese. And I think, and they love to use a Google Translate to translate the Chinese to English. So this is, and I think this the Google Translate, this tools is not actually very good to the people to learn English. To just do translation instead of without learning any English. So I think Hong Kong people can still work on more on that things, and not only rely on the technicals. Because some people are too focused on tools, but if there's no tools, they will lack of more creative or even language. So I think we need to abolish more standard tools or standard behavior such as communications to improve the whole environment.
Thanks, Eddie, for your insights, and thanks, Saurav, for your insights as well. So this was a great show today, where we learned about what is education and technology, and what kind of policies are being implemented and in different countries, and how the students are going to cope up with this new disruption, and what are the startups that are emerging. And I think most of the startups will follow the path of mergers and acquisitions coming forward. And as Saurabh just rightly mentioned, that standardization of the curriculum is an important task ahead in the coming few years. So yep, thank you for witnessing today's show. We'll meet again for the next time tomorrow with a new set of topics and new set of speakers, and with a new set of interesting ideas and insights. Until then, bye bye. Thanks, Saurabh, and thanks, Eddie.